Here's a journal entry from April 4th. I got back from the ENT clinic earlier. There's a bit of swelling going on in my mouth. I get very stressed and anxious over things like this. I jump to the worst conclusions. I shouldn't, but historically, it usually is the worst thing. Hopefully the swelling goes down. Now, this is basically a quick recap of everything that's happened for the past few months since April. April 7th. I first noticed the swelling in my gum. It feels small, like something that should go away on its own, but it doesn't. April 9th. This is the first of many visits. Eventually, I'm referred to the dental clinic. May 1st. The dental clinic pulls a tooth because of bone loss. I think maybe this will solve it, but the swelling stays. And basically, I just keep going back and forth between ENT and dental. No answers, just waiting. June 24th, my ENT orders a CT scan. Finally, maybe we'll get a clear picture. But I don't get a scan for months. September 22nd, the scan finally happens. Almost half a year since this started. September 24th, my doctor tells me the CT scan shows bone erosion. Now he's worried about invasive cancer. He does a biopsy, it comes back as high-grade dysplasia, precancerous. October 9th, he's worried the cancer could be deeper. So we do another biopsy, we go deeper, more waiting. How do you approach life after health catastrophes? I swear it feels like my body is just a ticking time bomb. Every time I go in for a checkup, I wonder if this is the day it blows up. My last entry was April 9th, and I was worried about the swelling in my mouth. I wrote about how I jumped to the worst conclusions. As I sit here now, I'm waiting on biopsy results to see if I have an invasive cancer because the CT scan results showed bone erosion. Regardless, I'm going to have to go back into surgery. I guess jumping to conclusions was appropriate in this case. So how do you approach life after health catastrophe? Maybe the answer is something like what Lan said to Rand in the Wheel of Time series. There is only one rule above all others for being a man. Whatever comes, face it on your feet. Now, October 21st, waiting. Why is waiting one of the most torturous experiences in one's health journey? Waiting for results, waiting for surgery. Waiting feels like a form of psychological torture. Your imagination looks at what you're facing and makes up potential outcomes, often a dreadful and extreme outcome. Sometimes the hardest part isn't the pain, it's just waiting for the diagnosis. Okay, so it's high-grade dysplasia again, but we're still in the dark about what's causing the bone erosion.
Whether it's eroding in the jawbone or not changes a lot of how we surgically treat this cancer. Because if it is eroding into the jawbone, the treatment the surgery is a lot more intense in that we actually have to remove that chunk of jawbone and then replace that chunk with taking some bone from somewhere else in your body. So it's a much bigger surgery for you to go through.
Basically, I have two choices.
What we could do when you're in the operating room, we can kind of get down into where that bony erosion is and send a sample of that area to the pathologist at that time. If it does come back as cancer, then we'd have to do the big surgery and remove that chunk. If it doesn't, then we could do kind of a smaller surgery overall, but we kind of have to go in with an open mind. That's one possibility of something to do. The other option would be to again take you to the operating room and kind of do a more, essentially like a really biopsy. I'd probably do it with you asleep just to get you just so it's, not too uncomfortable for you at the time, and get a really deep biopsy and figure out what's going on there. And then we wake you up, you go home, we get the results back, and then we kind of plan from there based on that result. So those, I think, are the two main options.
So basically what happens now is he's going to be in a meeting tomorrow with his colleagues, other surgeons. He's going to get their opinion, and he's going to call me back tomorrow afternoon where we decide which option to choose. I have faced impossible decisions before, and I'm still here. So We'll see.